And welcome back to the Nerdified Podcast. I'm your host, Paul. As with me, for now anyway, is my man Morgan.
All right. Might not be here in a couple of weeks.
Right. So today, obviously, we're going to talk about the ENDGAME, the newest trailer that came out with the pre-sale that came out for the tickets. And so...
Our theory was right. Our theory got pretty good.
Our theory, my ass. I was the one that said that they squad up and go in. But, and
I said that Thanos was going to come to them, so...
Well... I think that happens later in the movie. So, we'll split the difference and say we both were right.
Yeah.
But it looks to me like in the beginning, it's like, because they're like, we're going to go in shorthanded. Yeah. And Rhodey's like, yeah, because they killed all of our friends. Yeah, killed all of our friends. So, but I just read today that the Russos are saying that maybe not the big pivotal scene in the newest trailer may not even be real.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? These dudes...
Well, no, okay. I read that they're being very specific with what scenes they're choosing for the trailers because they say, like anything they're showing, if they show anything else, it could be basically spoilers for the movie.
Right. And I know that they were saying that those first 15 minutes, right, of the movie. And I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. And I don't hate it, right? People are, like, upset. And I'm like, I'm not upset. I'm okay that they're not giving us everything in the trailer. Like they're giving us enough, right? And we're all super pumped, and we sit here and we record podcasts talking about what exactly is going to happen. Yeah. So I'm not mad at them for doing that. I mean, I really want to go in there and be like, well, I got that right. Man, I was really wrong on that shit.
Marvel's made us on to crack addicts, dude. We're like lining up to see the trailers.
It's like every day I check, it's like ENDGAME news, right? Yep. And it's like most of it is just whatever is in the trailer is probably not even going to be in the movie.
Yeah.
Which makes me excited because I'm like, yo, this is going to be
one of the most dopest Marvel movies
to
date.
And now it's confirmed that I don't know if it's confirmed, but there's a rumor that it's 3 hours and 2 minutes, right? Yeah. It's the longest
Marvel running movie.
Right. And then they started talking about intermissions, right? Yeah. Like having a break. So you have to start preparing now. It's like you have to start game planning 3 weeks out.
Yeah, I mean, don't start, like limiting your soda consumption.
Right. I'm getting a small soda.
Yep.
Right. I'm not going to eat any popcorn. Well, I'm on keto anyway, so I can't eat any popcorn. But I mean, I smuggle in snacks like always, so it's not going to be a big deal. But it's like I hope that there is an intermission.
Dude, it's like training for an MMA fight, man. You can't.
Right. You got to get your game. You got to know what's going on.
All right.
But, so you do see Thanos, like, in his armor.
Right.
And so, according to the trailer, which now is like, who in the hell knows if it's actually for real.
Right.
So they're like, they're going to go hit him right away. So they squad up. They jump into the Benatar.
Okay, so what I noticed in the Benatar, Banner, Thor, and Ronan aren't there. Ronan being Hawkeye. They're not in that shit.
That's what I'm saying. I think they go out hard. It's just like a reaction. Yeah. They get they just took a L. They're super pissed because they lost all their friends, and they're like, like I said, they're gonna squad up, take another shot at him, and then they're gonna get beat up again.
Dude, another thing that I've noticed that we finally see that the Benatar is the thing that they're looking at, and in that early trailer, like they're looking up at something. Right?
Oh, when it's going adrift. Yeah.
So I'm thinking, because Rocket's still on Earth. Rocket's like, oh, these are my friends. We're fixing the jet.
Right.
And then Nebula starts, she's walking out all gloomy, and then you see both of them. You see both of them, they're sitting on the stairs, and he's all, she's holding his hand.
Yeah, Rocket's showing some emotion.
Yeah. Which is weird, because she showed emotion in Infinity War, and he's never shown any in any of the Guardians.
He just took a big, L. He literally lost, Drax, Peter.
And he had to watch
Groot
die again.
Turn into sawdust right in front of him. So, he's going to be broken. He can't really be, just the same, snarky Rocket.
Triangle faced Rocket.
He just took a nut punch, that it's not going to recover from quick. So that's why.
Yeah, he probably wasn't he probably didn't think, Groot was going to go because yeah, he's alive, but technically he's not like a biological or so. He's not like a living.
Right.
Form.
Well, I mean, he's about as human as you can get.
Yeah.
I mean, he does get sad.
Yeah.
You know.
But see, I think okay. So the only reason why Rocket and Nebula lived is because they're not actually living things anymore. Like, so Rocket got pulled apart.
So you're saying that the only reason why they're left is because they're more machine than they are human. Yeah. Well, I mean that doesn't make. And we saw it Nebula, makes sense. It's a point.
We saw Nebula in Infinity War. All of her parts were separated. I mean, I didn't see anything that was.
I never looked at it like that. Yeah, It could be.
They were exempt because they weren't really living. I mean, they're alive, but they're not.
Right, but they're not like. Yeah, I mean, the snap didn't take away a washer and leave a dryer. Yeah, you know what I mean. So yeah, it could play that the reason why they stuck around was because they were more machine than they were human, man.
And another reason
that's baking my noodle a little bit.
And so people are saying there's gonna be time travel, so they can get the stones before the big purple sausage fingers can't get to him.
Right. So Grimace.
So Rocket knows where the Power Stone is. He knows where the Reality Stone is, and Nebula is the only person that knows where the Soul Stone is, because she was there when she said Vormir.
Right. You're talking about on the second go around.
Yeah.
Like if because I mean, even when I was watching Avengers today, maybe nobody knew at the time, but that first assault on New York,
he had 3 stones right there.
Well, at least for Avengers' sake, you know what I'm saying? That they knew that there was already 2 stones, and we'll get into that in the Avengers rewatch. But yeah, I mean, it looks. I mean, I get hyped every time they release something, right. and more of trying to figure out, and I don't want to be spoiled on the movie, right? But it's fun to to fill some hours in the day, debating what's real, what's not, and to the Russos' credit, man, they've really kept this thing under wrap. They you don't really know what's going on. You don't know who is you don't know who's taken out of scenes. You don't know who's added. I mean, they can do shit now with digital. I mean, you don't even know what the hell. I mean, we haven't seen any Hulk at all. The last time we saw, the Hulk, he caught a Popeye's 2-piece special from Thanos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he caught that 2-piece in a biscuit.
Caught that out pretty quick.
And then, lucky for him, what's his face? Heimdall. Yeah, sent his ass to Earth before he took another ass whooping.
Right.
So, yeah, you don't even know what kind of iteration we're going to have of the Hulk. Are we going to have the Professor Hulk, like you said? Or are we just going to have the Hulk? But maybe...
fully pissed off. And
because, they show him... if you look at, like, a Hulk in Thor Ragnarok, you see that... especially in the facial features, he starts to take on. I mean, you can tell that it's Mark Ruffalo or it's David Banner, right?
Yeah.
But you can when he turns into the Hulk, you start to see like these like caveman features take over. Yep. Where he has like this huge brow and so, but like even in the artwork that we saw in the toys, he, all of his facial features are kind of like, it seems like they're more toned down because maybe he's using more of Banner's brain.
Right, he's letting Banner use, be the mind and he's being the...
Because like, it's like if you went to a museum and you saw a face of a caveman, he's got like huge brow over his, just like big forehead. And you kind of saw that in the Hulk. But like I said, in the artwork, in the current artwork, you don't see that. You see like a more, refined features.
You can see more Bruce.
So maybe it's maybe it is a more of a, 50-50 mix where you have intelligence of Banner and then you have like the brawn of Hulk.
Yeah.
Man. I'm surprised they hadn't. I wonder if they're going to show any Hulk up to the release.
I really hope they don't.
I don't want to see him. I think that's like their big trump card. Like they're really going to keep that under wraps until they know. Right. Until you get into, you're actually in the movie and you're sitting there and you're like, holy crap. You know what I mean? It's like...
Well, I wonder, because, so we saw in Infinity War that Hulk didn't want to come out at all.
No.
So I wonder if there is going to be a time jump.
I wouldn't be leaving the house that quick either if I got pieced up out in the front,
I'm saying,
some dude came over and beat my ass. It's not like I'm going to be, out and about. I'm going to be like, I'm going to stay at home.
If there's going to be like a time jump, I wonder, like, through that time jump, if he even tried to be Hulk, or we're not going to see him until the time jump they actually get to see Thanos again on either the base or when they go to him.
Right. Well, I think that one part where they show, and then you had that one scene at the end of the trailer where it's Thor, Cap, and Iron Man, and they're kind of like walking around.
The big three.
Because I think you said on the last podcast that, he comes down there and he just drops bombs on the Avengers facility, right? Yeah. And I think that's where they're at.
Yeah, me too.
I think later on, this movie's it's 3 hours. So they can really take you on a big arc as far as like where the story goes. Because, that's 180 minutes. Oh, yeah, you know what I mean? They could spend 90 minutes, figuring it out. And then it's really 2 movies, right? Because most movies.
Like in the beginning, it's going to be kind of like a slow burner. Like it's going to start.
Right. Because they're going to have to catch you up. Yeah. You're going to show everybody weeping.
Yep.
Or not weeping, but like moping around. But I don't think it's going to be. But I keep thinking back to that Captain Marvel in trailer. The what post credit?
Yeah,
where she like shows up. So I think part of me maybe it's going to be slow burn. Part of me thinks that she's going to get there and she's going to be super cocky, right? And she's going to be like, who do you have? Whoever you have available, let's get on a ship and go find this fool.
Well, see, I think they're going to be trying to planning it, and she's going to be like, no, fuck it, we should just go head first for him. Go
right.
Head dive into it.
I mean, because like I said, I think I said it on the last podcast. Like she's proven, like she's supposed to get exposed for a weakness.
Yeah, and see, I think in the first half we're gonna see that weakness, and then she's like, "Well, maybe we should plan the."
Yeah, because nothing. I mean, I like watching somebody get cocky and then get their
ass handed to them.
Yeah, get their ass handed to them, and they're like, "Oh man, I guess I wasn't as awesome as I thought." And so now they have to like come back and go back to the drawing board and figure out how they're gonna take on.
I thought I was gonna be good enough, but clearly not.
Yeah, you just don't know where to go. There's so many things that you can be there's so many alleyways that you could go to try to figure out what the hell's going to go on.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like part of me kind of wants to, like, I like talking about it.
We could go down the rabbit hole again.
But I don't want to know. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd rather just, theorize what's going to go on. Yeah, totally, 100%. I want to be.
That's why I swear, if I see a hint of Hulk in a trailer, I'm done.
Right. No. Well, maybe they don't have to show you. I mean, they could just show Hulk, right? Yeah. I think that would be enough, right? Just a glimpse. Right. Like, something happened and then, he breaks through a wall.
Blood right there or whatever trickling.
Oh, yeah. He does a Kool-Aid Man. Does the Kool-Aid Man, breaks through the wall. Yeah, breaks through the wall, and you're like, whoa, but it's quick.
Right. Where, I'd rather it be quick than.
And then you have people all over the internet, like, putting it into programs and slowing down and trying to, because you can find 100 videos on YouTube where people break down the trailers.
Oh, yeah.
And, that's fine and good, but, man, especially like with, just to bring up Game of Thrones, we're going to get in that in a little bit, but, like, the amount of videos that people have posted where they went frame by frame by frame.
Trying to find every little thing they can.
Yeah. But, man, it's like, I like speculating and talking about it and coming up with my own theories. But in all honesty, I want to be surprised when I go in there. And, I want to be like I felt like when I saw Infinity War. It's like, what? The Hulk's not there?
Right.
Especially when you watch him get pieced up in the ship in the first part of the movie.
Oh, my God. He got his ass.
Yeah. And you're just like. And then I don't know if it was the Russos or some people that they were saying like Thanos didn't even use the gauntlet.
No, he didn't.
Like he threw him a beat down just raw, all Thanos.
The first 5 minutes I think was supposed to set up what this movie's gonna be like. So they're gonna show he's unbeatable at one-on-one combat.
Right.
And again, he takes the space stones. So that's showing the the space or the Infinity Stones plot line. And showing that, and after he gets that stone, he doesn't put any effort on putting any guys out unless he's a threat to Thanos or he's a threat to getting the stones.
Right.
Because soon after that, he only kills Loki because he tried to kill him, and then after that, he's just stone.
Yeah, I think there was a arc for his character, and so that first kill where he kills Loki, I think he's still kind of like being Thanos. Yeah. He hasn't truly evolved because later he understands that. I think he understands what's going on. and he's not so quick to kill. But especially when he has to sacrifice Gamora. But man, it's like, and I don't know. I can only imagine what they're going to be dropping up till,
Right.
And I was like, do I want to go? Because like a lot of the theaters that have tickets on sale, they have them on sale. Like you can go that Thursday, right? And I was like, I wonder how jam packed it's going to be for a Thursday night 10:00 showing at the local theater. And I'm like,
well, we saw Bastrop and Infinity War drop, dude. We had to go see it in 3D that same night.
See, I don't want to go see 3D. It doesn't really do anything for me. It's just like extra money. And like, oh, you saw a rock almost hit you.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
But either way, I am super, super, super stoked about ENDGAME. And like the end of the month, most of the time you wish like, oh my God, we're almost out of April. And I'm like, oh my God, we're almost at the end of April.
You're all like, oh my God, I'm actually excited for the end of April.
Well, at least for this month, we have another week, and then we'll be distracted for a moment because you're gonna have a couple episodes of the end at the season 8 of Game of Thrones, and that's another TV show that we've been speculating.
They're just as they like to keep their lips tight just as much as Marvel, man.
Well, you have to, man. In this age, it's really hard to keep things under wraps because you have, crew. I want to imagine what it's like to work on these shows and what you have to sign. I know there's NDAs.
Well, I know. So Sophie Turner, Sansa, is getting married to Joe Jonas, right? She's already married.
Right.
He was there on set until the ending of Game of Thrones, so he had to sign something saying he's not going to talk about it. He had to, they had to make sure, like, if he had a camera on him, to like block it out.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's like they go through extensive measures to make sure that nothing gets out, and anything that it's the same thing with Marvel. Anything that gets released is that they're approved, right? Yep. Did you? I was watching I was flipping through YouTube and they had Maisie Williams that plays Arya. Yeah, she's on the Jimmy Fallon show. Yep, and it says
the April Fools. Yeah, I saw that.
And I mean, I knew it was April Fools. I mean,
you gotta give her props, man. She was a good actor for that split second. She hands were all shaky. She was crying.
To the uneducated or the unanointed that they're actors, Yeah. And so she drops that. I didn't find out till I was dead, and she's like, oh. I was like, I'm sure that every time they go to an interview, whether it's her or Sophie or Kit, any of those people, they do an interview on television. There is a HBO person.
Oh yeah.
There's a handler there.
Even if they don't know it, they know someone from HBO.
Right. And so, yeah. And they won't even, and I'm sure at this point, HBO has final say of what actually gets aired on the interview. Right. I'm sure that there's some things that they can't get away with. But if it's a blatant spoiler, like ending spoiler, HBO's like, nah, son.
No. Time to cut it here.
Yeah. Yeah, you better call somebody else because this interview's not seeing the light of day. I mean, and I get it too. And also when I was watching, when you go down the YouTube rabbit hole, that Game of Thrones is the most pirated show of all time.
Yeah. Oh, like
bootlegs.
Yep.
People, are out downloading episodes, and I'm like,
just get Amazon, man.
And they still make tons of money despite people bootlegging it. So Game of Thrones season 8, we're literally a week away. We're in single-digit days.
Right.
7
days away.
Today is the 7th. So literally 7 days away from the Game of Thrones premiere.
I can't tell you how many times I've already watched the whole series. Me and Michaela watched it 2 or 3 times.
We're doing this MCU rewatch, which got edited down.
Right.
Because that's a lot of movies, and unfortunately,
we can't do them all.
Well, we live in the real world, and we have jobs to go to, and it's not like we can just take a few weeks off and watch all of them. I was
supposed to work today.
Yeah. So, we're going to edit it down to the Avengers movies. Maybe, I was almost thinking maybe throwing Thor Ragnarok, but
even then,
because we're going to do our Avengers rewatch later on, and then we're going to do Ultron, and then we're going to do, I haven't decided if we're going to do Civil War, because that was kind of like an Avengers 2.5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you had Age of Ultron, and then you go into Captain America Civil War. which is kind of like a 2.5, but I think we're just going to stick to the Avengers.
Avengers, yep.
So we're going to do the Avengers later on today. We're going to do Age of Ultron next week. Hopefully you're still around for us to do Infinity War.
That'd be nice.
Leading up. So with that out of the way, we're going to get back. So Game of Thrones season 8, final season, 6 episodes. All of them are like at least 80 minutes. Yeah,
I think they said they're going to be longer.
Hour and 20 minutes, or an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Cause see, I was, the first rumor that started to circulate was it was going to be every episode was going to be 2 hours.
Yeah, as long as a feature length film.
Right.
Like that. Yeah.
And I'm like, man, that is awesome.
Right. Like
but now they're starting. Now there's an official release where there's like a couple episodes that are going to be close to 2 hours. But
that's probably going to be the first episode and the last episode. I don't see it being
right. Well, I mean, most shows do it that way. And they advertise it like tune in for the 2 hours,
right.
series finale. Yeah. And I hope they wrap everything up. I mean, the battle at Winterfell is going to be massive. I think that was the one they said that took 55 days, 55 nights actually, to film a battle scene where the Night King comes on to Winterfell, right. And I'm like, yo, that's...
And so we see it in the trailer too, he's on his horse and you see Winterfell in the background.
Right, and so it's going down, and that's going to be crazy. And some people are saying that's not going to be until like episode 3.
Jon Snow and the Night King have had, 3 stare downs now that were pretty epic, and they haven't even fought each other yet.
And apparently the rumor going around is they're going to have more interaction. And even the actor...
I swear to God, if they don't fight...
come on, man. It's got to be Jon Snow versus the Night King. There's no other way it could end. Because they, like you said, they've had like these moments where they've kind of like,
And it's like a hardcore like...
They squared up. And it's like, yo, what's up?
Eventually.
Especially like in Hard Home. Where they got all the wildlings on the boats, and then the Night King just strolls up and raises everybody up, and he's like, "Yeah, what's good, son?"
Jon Snow's like, "I got a Valyrian steel sword."
Yeah, but that's another thing too, is that there's only like 5. Was it maybe 5? What do you have? Oathkeeper, Widow's Wail, Longclaw. Yeah, you have Arya's cat-eye dagger. Yeah. You have the Tully
Samwell
Heartsbane. That's another. God damn it! I lost my train of thought. Valyrian steel. Damn, I was looking for it. So you only have 5 people with that are like.
They also have that huge ass mountain of dragon glass on Dragonstone.
Well, yeah, and you would hope that that's all it's going to take. Because dragon, we saw Sam kill the one with the dragon glass dagger. But I don't think dragon glass is going to work on the Night King.
No, I don't think so.
I think it's going to have to be Valyrian steel.
We saw in, like we said, Hard Home. John took that walker out with the Valyrian steel.
Right.
And he was one of the main ones.
And I was so jacked when that happened, right? Because I'm like, yo, this is where, I didn't know. And I've never read the books, and I've kept it that way. Yeah. I've downloaded them, by the way. For those of you that want to download Game of Thrones, the first book on Audible, 37 hours. It's almost a work week, right? You could almost if you got paid. Yeah, if you got paid to listen to it, that'd be like a full week's paycheck.
Yeah.
So I haven't started it. I'm gonna start it afterwards because I don't want to get tainted. And I don't want to be one, because I try to talk to other people who've read the books, and they're really annoying.
Yeah, if anything, when the show finally ends, then I'll probably read the books, but I don't want to read them. I don't want to read them before the...
I couldn't read them. That's why I've downloaded that shit.
There's so much shit to learn from the books and from the shows before you even watch the season finale.
Right.
It's like trying to keep up with 2 things.
It's one thing if I had read them before.
Yeah.
And almost... I'm not trying to knock reading, but anything that becomes like a phenomenon... like Game of Thrones is like, I don't want to ruin it. It's like The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I didn't go back and read the comics, but I know enough about the comics to know that they have tons of source material, right?
Yeah.
And that's the only problem with Game of Thrones is like after season 5, there's no new books from, Martin. He's supposed to be writing a book.
There's almost no need to read the books now for the final season.
No, because they're all on the fly. Yep. You know, after season 5,
well, yeah, no, after season
there was
5,
no more source material.
He gave him like free reign. He was like, dude, just as
well,
long as you keep him.
It wasn't. Yeah, well, because he was like, yo, I ain't got nothing for you. Yeah. I'm still writing a book. You're gonna have to like make it up, from here on out.
Yeah, they've done pretty solid.
Well, I would say I enjoyed season 6 and season 7, right?
Yeah.
But you can tell that they were really kind of like out in, uncharted water. Right. They were out in uncharted water, and they were trying to set up, and I don't know if at the time they knew that was going to, like, season 8 was going to be the last episode or the last season. But you could tell, like, the writing in season 1 to the end of season 5 was spectacular. And all of the episodes were spectacular. Mm-hmm. Now, some of the episodes from between season 6 and season 7, some of them were awesome. Some of them were hit and miss. Good, right. And I'm not saying I hated it, but you could just tell where the book ran out, and now they're having to kind of make up their own.
The only thing I didn't like about season 7 is how cryptic freaking Bran got. Dude, I could not. I was like, please don't put him in any more scenes.
Well, no, and a lot of people are saying around the different, places where you can go for Game of Thrones, theories is that, he's still trying to reboot his brain after he just downloaded like the entire history of the world,
right?
Essentially,
yeah.
And so hopefully in season 8 he'll be more like human. You know what I mean? It won't look like...
he'll start getting there in the beginning. Yeah. In the middle, he'll be...
Because after he, became the three-eyed raven, he just looked like... he was like that one guy that smokes way too much weed.
Right.
I mean, way too much weed.
He showed no emotion when she's like, well, I'm going to go now.
Yeah.
He goes, all right, bye. She goes, really? Like, you let my brother die? And I got to tell him...
Right.
Bye.
And I get it, but, I mean, I felt bad for... I can't remember what her name is. But that was Jojen's sister, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt bad for her because, I think she kind of had a thing for Bran.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, peace. See you later.
She's like, well, fuck you too,
hey,
little shit.
You might want to stay away from Winterfell in a few months. Shit's getting real,
Oh, okay. That theory I was telling you about earlier before the podcast. Okay, so, Wyatt, right?
Right.
My buddy, yeah. He texts me, he goes, dude, I think Arya's going to take a walker's face. Because in the trailer, she goes... you're gonna be one of my favorite faces,
right?
And so I was like, she easily could.
That goddamn dog is barking.
I think that's Benny.
I'm gonna kill that dog. I mean, not really. I love it, but I'm gonna go scare the crap. Right? Go give him a treat. So you think that she's gonna use the whole the mini face god trick in order to get? I'm gonna swear to God, I'm gonna kill that dog. So anyway, what's she gonna do? She's gonna sneak up on him?
I don't know. I mean, we didn't go into detail with that. I just told him, that could happen. But then again, HBO could also do a whole, Thor has 2 eyes, and in the movie has 1.
Right.
And do something else.
I mean, it's interesting for sure, but I don't think that it's a different trying to play. Somebody. I mean, it could. I mean, it's good to think about. It's good to be like, yo, is she really gonna just like take a face of one of the walkers and just slide up on the Night King and like,
John, don't make this one disappear.
Surprise, bitch! And, and gank him with that cat-eyed dagger.
John would be like, that was my kill, bitch.
Yeah, and you're like, yo, why you gotta hog out a spotlight?
Give your brother some.
And I tried to talk to other people, and I was talking to the girl I work with. And she was like, I watched it. I'm caught up. And so I started talking to her. And she's like, what? When did that happen? I was like, yo, you need to go back and you need to rewatch season 7. Like, you need to get caught up. Because the only thing I hate worse than people that don't know, and I can't talk about Game of Thrones with people, is the people that watched it and didn't pay attention.
Right.
Because I'm like watching everything. I'm like, what's he doing? What's he holding? Where are they at?
Or you always get that one person like, I like the show, but I just don't know anyone's name. Like,
yeah,
like there's 7 seasons to get to know their names.
I forget names too. Yeah. I'm not the best with names, but I'm like, I go, yeah, like when he rode the dragon and knocked down the wall. She goes, when did that happen? And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? That was like the biggest thing that happened at the end of season 7. Right. It's like He kills a dragon.
That's like the person.
He brings it back to life. He flies his mug all the way up to the wall and just burns it down. And like, you missed that part. I was like, yo,
like trying to talk
stop talking to me. You need to go back and rewatch the series.
That's like trying to talk to somebody who doesn't know that, Iron Man was released like 10 years ago. It's like,
yeah, it's like, when was that? 2012? I was like, nah, 4 more years, lady.
All right, go away now.
Yeah, but it's all right. But like, man, April. It's like we're a week away. Month, the sad part of me is it's like April's going to be it. Well, I mean, you have Spider-Man: Homecoming.
That's not until like a couple months afterwards.
Right, but then after that, there's just like nothing.
Jack shit.
There's nothing. No other Marvel movies on slate. I mean, unless they have something.
They rush Black Widow, because that's one of the next ones that's going to come out.
I don't think it's coming out this year though.
Well,
I mean, that would be a stretch.
I don't say it's coming out this year, but I'm saying ending or close to the beginning.
I mean, technically, they could start shooting now.
Yeah.
And they could probably, depending on how much special effects they need for the movie, which I kind of hope they do it more like a Winter Soldier-esque, where it's more of like a thriller, and then you have some.
That was a really good Marvel movie.
Yeah, and I hope they give Black Widow her single movie. I hope they give her that treatment, like the same thing like the Russos did. I mean, it's another Russos movie.
Yeah.
And it's a comic book movie, but it's more like a spy thriller. Yeah, and I dug it. I rewatch out of all the movies. I rewatch Winter Soldier the most. I watch it all the time. Because it was just.
I really hope they don't ruin Black
It was a comic book movie that just happened. I think it was more of a spy movie that just happened to have comic book characters in it, and that's why I think it worked, and that's probably why they got Civil War, and then they kicked ass in Civil War.
Yeah, well, the only reason that Winter Soldier was so good is, dude, that was a complete different Captain America that we saw in any of the other Marvel movies. Like, he freaking drop kicked somebody into the ocean. And damn near knocked.
It was like a hardcore Captain America for sure.
And then freaking threw that knife at that guy's hand before he touched that alarm. I was like, I like this Cap.
Because, I mean, I don't know how much training he had post becoming the Capsicle, but
he seemed to get a lot, though.
The Russos said in an interview that all that time that you see between after Avengers, essentially, because in Avengers, he was just kind of fresh out the ice, and he only had a couple weeks before.
He was trying to be a soldier in Avengers. He was just trying to get
right. Well, again. Like I said, he was operating with the only thing, with all the training that he had at the time.
Yep.
Right, but that Captain America versus the one you see in Winter Soldier, you've had 2 years.
Oh yeah.
Of him, learning all kind of crazy shit.
Training, man.
Yeah. So, who do you think? Before we end this podcast, last thing about Game of Thrones. I like how we go to Game of Thrones and then it ultimately leads back to Marvel and Avengers.
Now we're ending it with Game of Thrones.
Right, we're going to end it with Game of Thrones, but who's on the throne at the end?
Who's on the throne?
Yeah, who's last person standing?
I'm going to say if Dany does want to make a new world, no one's going to be on the throne. Or at least if it's not going to be her, it's hopefully Jon.
And that's another thing that we're going to get on real quick because we don't want to wrap. We want to wrap it up. I just don't. You never watched any of The Sopranos, did you?
No.
Right. So anyway, it was about mobsters in New Jersey. Anyway, so the series finale comes up, and it is such a no excitement ending. Right. They have all this stuff go on and no climax. There's no climactic ending to this series that I spent years watching and loving, and then it just ends on a they're sitting at a
dead note.
Well, they're just sitting at a table listening to a jukebox, and it's like nothing. And I'm like, if they do that with Game of Thrones, I'm going to burn down HBO's headquarters, right? Because they better tie that shit up, right? Because I have stuck with this show even when it started to get
10 years, man.
Even season 6 and season 7 where it was kind of so-so, right? I mean, they were good.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as the high caliber as you got from season 1 to season 5. Right. And I'm like, if they give us one of these, it's like these movies that you go see, right?
That have the worst ending ever.
Yeah, and then it's like, da-da-da, and then goes to black, and you're like, credits, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I get so angry, because I'm like, man, who enjoys these kind of endings, right?
Or when you have a Galactus that's a fucking cloud that eats planets.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. And so, yeah, when a character is supposed to be like tall as a planet,
right,
coming to kill planets, and they give you, you know, like they give you a dust storm with some little bit of lightning in it.
Right.
But I'm telling you, if they don't give us like a satisfying ending to Game of Thrones, I'm gonna be so pissed.
Well, okay,
and I'm gonna burn down HBO's headquarters.
If someone does end up on the throne, I want it to be Jon, or I want it to be
Jon. Jon seems like the best choice, right?
Well, because you have Cersei that says that she's with him, but I think she's gonna stab him in the back.
Who's that?
Cersei.
Is with Jon?
No, well, you know how she said, you know, we'll stop this war.
Oh, no, she's full of shit, bro.
Yeah, I know she is. Even with the pregnancy shit, she's faking.
Yeah, because, you know, in the trailer, she's drinking wine.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, dang, I mean, I know.
She did that in the 5th season. You saw that, you know, her boy, you know, just kind of walked off.
Yeah, with Tomlin. But I don't know if it was like incest or alcohol, fetal alcohol syndrome. None of that is kind of like, it's bad shit all the way around.
Yeah.
Somehow they kind of get away with it for Game of Thrones.
Right.
But all I know is if they cheat me on this damn ending, I'm going to be...
Find out where HBO's at. And then
angry. I'm not even going to be pissed. I'm going to be angry.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm going to go picket the fucking headquarters of HBO and be like, yo.
Directions.
I'm going to Google map that shit. I'm going to take a week vacation, and I'm going to go out there and I'll be like, you know.
Busting some heads.
What the hell was this? Well, that's going to do it for this week's Nerdified Podcast. Remember to follow on Facebook at our Facebook page, Nerdified Podcast, and you can send questions, comments, feedbacks at Twitter at Nerdified, NERDAPHYTE. You can watch us on YouTube and on SoundCloud under the Nerdified Podcast. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.